Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time, all the way to ancient Rome. Picture this. It's a bright, sun-soaked afternoon and the streets are bustling with activity. The noise of merchants shouting about their goods, the clinking of coins, and the distant murmur of crowds fills the air. The scent of fresh bread mixes with the earthy, musky smell of people and animals. You're walking through the marketplace, your feet tapping along the stone-paved streets as the sun warms your skin. It's not just any ordinary day, though. You're heading to one of the grandest spots in the Roman world, the baths. Now, before you get too excited and think, oh, a relaxing dip in some warm water sounds great, I should probably let you know that this place is a bit more than just a bath. You're about to enter the world of ancient Roman bathing rituals, where the concept of a spa day was taken to an entirely different level. There's no bubbly bath bomb here, no plush towels to wrap yourself in afterward. Instead, it's an ancient tradition so intertwined with Roman culture, it's practically a lifestyle. And let me warn you, you probably wouldn't survive this if you were to try it today. You'd be sweating it out in heat that might make you wonder if you're being roasted alive or frantically dodging a stray foot that's accidentally splashed your way. Just a heads up. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I mean, I'm not going to twist your arm, but I'd love to know how you feel about all this. Oh, and drop a comment below telling me where you're from and what time it is there. Is it morning where you are? Or are you just starting to unwind like you should be? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step into the warm, scented air of a Roman bathhouse. Your senses immediately flooded by the sounds and smells. The low chatter of bathers, the distant sound of water splashing, and the light, herbal fragrance that clings to the air all around you. This isn't just a building with water and heat. It's a place of rejuvenation, relaxation, and social interaction. Imagine yourself walking along the stone floors, your feet slipping ever so slightly against the cool tiles, the walls encased in smooth marble, polished by centuries of foot traffic. The Roman baths were, in essence, a luxurious retreat for all Romans, rich and poor alike. Whether you were a senator or a humble shopkeeper, the baths were a universal part of Roman life. So, take a moment to let it sink in. You're about to take part in something that was, for many, as essential as food and drink, perhaps even more so. These baths were not just about cleanliness. They were an experience, a lifestyle, a meeting place, and a source of physical and mental renewal. As you continue to wander deeper into the bathhouse, the temperature rises subtly, and you catch glimpses of bathers coming and going, wrapped in linen garments, some heading toward the changing rooms, others emerging from pools of water, steam rising from their wet skin. But it's not just the water that draws them here, it's the entire ritual. There's an unspoken rhythm to it all, a process of relaxation, cleansing, and if you're in the right mood, a bit of socializing as well. Historians still wonder if the experience was as soothing as we imagine, or if the noise and crowded spaces created a chaotic, perhaps even overwhelming atmosphere for those trying to escape the pressures of the outside world. There's a strange blend of luxury and chaos here as you walk deeper into the baths, the heat wrapping itself around you like a comforting embrace. This first part of your journey is all about stepping into a Roman world where the boundaries between work, relaxation, and social life blur. The baths weren't just a private retreat for some. No. They were where business could be discussed, friends could meet, and even the political machinations of the 18th century empire could unfold. You start noticing a few more details. The way the light filters through small windows high up on the walls, casting soft shadows on the ground below. The sounds, footsteps, the gentle lapping of water against stone. The quiet murmurs of conversation feel almost hypnotic, like a soundtrack to an afternoon spent unwinding. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel the tension leaving your shoulders as you sink deeper into this ancient world. It's time for you to choose your first stop. Will you dive into the heat of the caldarium, the hot bath, or perhaps head to the frigidarium for a sharp, chilling shock to the system? Or maybe, just maybe, you'll just take a seat in the tepidarium, the middle ground, neither too hot nor too cold, but perfect for that lingering moment of transition between the two extremes. But don't rush. There's no hurry here. Just breathe in the warm, fragrant air. Feel the smooth stone beneath your feet, and know that this journey is as much about slowing down as it is about discovering the wonders of the Roman baths. You take a deep breath as the humid air wraps itself around you. The heat of the bathhouse is almost like an invitation to relax. And as you walk, you can't help but notice the sheer scale of this place. The Romans were nothing if not grandiose, and their baths were a testament to their love for luxury and their almost obsessive pursuit of comfort. The walls stretch high above you, decorated with intricate mosaics depicting scenes of gods and goddesses, mythical creatures, and all the wonders of the Roman world. The floors below your feet are smooth, made of polished stone that's cool to the touch as you glide over it. But it's the sheer size of the space that is overwhelming. You pause for a moment, standing at the entrance to one of the main halls of the bathhouse. It's vast, bigger than any modern spa you've ever seen, and the low hum of conversation creates a peaceful soundtrack, accompanied by the gentle sound of water sloshing in the pools. In a way, it almost feels like you're standing inside the heart of Roman society, where all walks of life come together to experience something both mundane and magical. This was a place for the people. No matter your status in Roman society, everyone had access to the baths, though the wealthy might have enjoyed extra privileges like more private or luxurious quarters. As you continue walking, you catch sight of several bathers lounging around in different sections of the bathhouse. Some are sitting on the marble steps of the pools, chatting with friends, while others are reclining on plush, draped cushions, looking utterly at ease. The place is filled with warmth, not just from the heat of the pools, but from the sense of communal relaxation. For many Romans, these bathhouses were a daily ritual, a necessary break from the grind of life. The average Roman might visit the baths once a day, spending hours in various stages of relaxation. And for the wealthy, a visit to the baths wasn't just about personal care. It was an opportunity to network, gossip, and exchange business deals. In fact, the baths were one of the most important aspects of Roman culture, so much so that many of the grandest bathhouses were funded by the emperor himself. The baths of Caracalla, for instance, were an incredible feat of engineering and construction, able to accommodate thousands of bathers at once. They had everything from libraries and gymnasiums to gardens and even shops. To walk into such a space was to step into a place where luxury and practicality fused into a single, glorious experience. One of the things that might surprise you about Roman bathing is the amount of time people spent there. These weren't quick in and out trips like modern day showers. No, a visit to the baths could easily take up an entire afternoon. You'd start with a bit of exercise, perhaps a light jog or some wrestling in the palestra, the open-air exercise area. Then, you'd head into the warm, inviting water to begin your cleansing ritual. Afterward, there was a process of scrubbing your skin with oil and scraping away the grime with a special tool called a strigil. And finally, a trip to the cold pool to close the pores and invigorate your body. The Romans believed that bathing was a critical part of maintaining good health. In fact, they didn't just view the baths as a way to relax. They were also an integral part of their daily hygiene regimen, believed to be essential for maintaining both physical and mental well-being. Water was seen as a source of vitality and rejuvenation, almost like a medicine for the soul. Historians still wonder if this obsession with cleanliness had a deeper meaning. Was the act of bathing a symbolic ritual of purification? A way for Romans to cleanse not just their bodies but their minds and spirits as well? Or was it simply about maintaining the perfect Roman physique, where every part of your body had to be in top condition? Either way, it's clear that the Romans took bathing seriously, almost as seriously as they took their feasts, their politics, and their military campaigns. Bathing was a cornerstone of their way of life. The whole experience is steeped in luxury. The floors beneath your feet are not just stone, they are smooth, patterned marble. The kinds of intricate designs that show the immense wealth of the people who use these spaces. And the walls, painted with vibrant colors and images that showcase the idealized Roman world. To step into these baths was to step into a world where every sense was carefully catered to. The scent of oils and perfumes, the softness of the cushions you recline on, the soothing warmth of the water, and the soft murmurs of conversation all round you. While the baths were open to all, the wealthier Romans often had access to special features. Private rooms, more luxurious pools, even attendants dedicated to ensuring their comfort were standard for those who could afford it. Imagine being one of those aristocrats reclining on a plush, velvet cushion while an attendant carefully massages your muscles with oils. The air is thick with the scent of lavender, rose, and myrrh. The sounds of your fellow bathers fading into the background as you sink deeper into a tranquil state. Despite all this luxury, there were parts of the experience that could feel a bit less glamorous. For instance, the constant chatter of hundreds of people in various stages of undress, some laughing loudly, some grumbling about politics or family. There's the occasional splash of water, as someone is a little too eager in their movements. But you've learned by now that Roman baths weren't about perfect silence or solitude. They were about immersion, both in the water and in the company of others. The luxury of Roman bathing wasn't just in the baths themselves, it extended to the entire experience. The temperature of the water was meticulously controlled through a system of underfloor heating, allowing Romans to enjoy a perfectly warm or cool bath regardless of the time of year. The design of the bathhouses also took into account the need for relaxation and socializing, with special rooms for reading, eating, or even just lounging around. Even if the experience was not as intimate or quiet as a modern spa day, There's something undeniably luxurious about it. The Romans had perfected the art of relaxation, just not in the way we might expect. The grandeur of the bathhouse, the intricacy of the rituals, the mingling of people from all walks of life, it all comes together in an atmosphere that still resonates centuries later. You step into the heart of the bathhouse, and as the door behind you creaks shut, the heat suddenly wraps around you like a warm, suffocating hug. It's not unbearable, but it's a noticeable difference from the cool air you were just in. You pause for a moment, your skin prickling slightly at the sensation. The air is thick with humidity, like a mist hanging in the space, and the faint scent of oil, herbs, and incense lingers in the background. Steam rises from the pools, curling into the air in wisps, giving the whole place an ethereal, almost dreamlike quality. The sound of water splashing and the soft hum of conversation fill your ears, blending into a single, soothing rhythm. As you walk further into the room, you're drawn to the centerpiece of the bathhouse, the caldarium, the hot bath. It's a large, circular pool, the water within it shimmering and steam rising in gentle waves. This is where many Romans began their bathing ritual, immersing themselves in the heat to cleanse not just their bodies, but their minds too. The water is comfortably warm, almost like a gentle embrace, drawing you in with its welcoming atmosphere. But before you even dip a toe in, you take a moment to observe the others around you. Some bathers are reclining at the edge of the pool, their arms draped lazily over the stone, eyes closed in contentment. A few people are talking in low voices, their words a soft murmur that only adds to the calm ambience. You notice the steam rising in delicate tendrils, the way it blurs the edges of everything around you, creating an almost mystical scene. The caldarium is where Romans would sweat out the day's impurities. There was no rush here, no pressure to hurry. You can take your time, relax in the heat, and allow yourself to melt into the warm embrace of the water. The experience is far less about the actual act of cleansing and far more about the ritual itself, about sinking into the heat, feeling your muscles unwind, your stress drip away with every passing moment. It's almost impossible to imagine life without this luxury, isn't it? The idea of taking time out of your day to just be. No emails, no to-do lists, no rush. Just the hot water, the faint sound of voices, and the knowledge that for a few hours you are free from the pressures of life. The Romans knew that time at the baths was about self-care in its truest form, allowing your body to relax, your mind to wander, and your spirit to rejuvenate. It wasn't just a bath, it was an experience of renewal. And as you slowly lower yourself into the caldarium, the water feels almost liquid cold, smooth and soothing. The heat penetrates your skin, loosening every muscle in your body, making it seem as if every worry, every lingering tension simply evaporates. You take a deep breath, feeling your body surrender to the heat. Of course, this was an essential part of Roman life, this intense immersion into heat. The Romans had perfected the art of building heated baths using a system called the hippocaust. Beneath the floors of the bathhouse, hot air from fires would circulate through channels in the walls and under the stone floors, warming the space to a perfect temperature. If you were lucky, you could even feel the warmth radiating up through the soles of your feet. It was a masterful engineering feat that ensured that the air inside was always at the right temperature for the most relaxing experience possible. Historians still wonder if Romans were ever overwhelmed by the heat. After all, we tend to associate comfort with cool, gentle breezes, but to them, heat was synonymous with relaxation and purification. Was the warmth too much to bear at times? Or was it always as inviting as it feels right now as you settle deeper into the pool, your body becoming one with the surrounding steam? As you stay in the caldarium, the quiet sounds of the bathhouse slowly begin to dissolve into the background. There's a sense of timelessness here, an almost meditative stillness that invites you to let go of your thoughts and simply be. The water around you is warm but not oppressively so, just enough to feel like a constant gentle pressure. You realize that this is the perfect place to unwind. Your body starts to soften, your breath slows, and the weight of the outside world drifts away. It's not all about the luxury, of course. Even the wealthiest Romans, who could afford their own private baths, spent time in the communal spaces, because the real magic of the Roman baths lay in the mingling, the socializing, and the ritual of it all. You might be floating in hot water right now, but you're also sharing space with people of all walks of life. Senators, soldiers, shopkeepers, and slaves, all in the same place, all bound together by the need to relax, to cleanse, and to rejuvenate. And in this setting, it feels almost as if you've become a part of something larger, something greater than yourself. The Romans knew that bathing was not just a personal act. It was a collective experience, a chance to meet people, discuss business, politics, or simply enjoy the company of others. You take a moment to imagine the conversations happening around you. Lively debates about the latest political scandal, the whisper of new gossip, the laughter of a shared joke. But it's not all about conversation either. You could spend your entire time here, if you chose, without speaking a word. There's a quiet peace in simply being surrounded by the comforting heat and the sounds of those around you. The occasional splash of water, the soft murmur of voices, the sense of warmth that fills the space. It all works together to create a cocoon of relaxation. As you begin to sink deeper into the water, the heat envelops you, and you realize something. This isn't just about a bath, it's about slowing down, letting go, taking your time to care for yourself in the way that the Romans did. A luxury that seems almost unthinkable today. But here, in the warm embrace of the caldarium, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. Now, as you float in the water, feeling the soothing warmth wrap around you like a cozy blanket, there's one small detail you might notice. Almost everyone here seems to be wearing nothing. No extravagant robes, no elaborate dresses or tunics, just the bare essentials. It's all part of the ritual, really. The Romans had a very specific approach to their baths, and the attire, or lack thereof, played a big role in the experience. Gone are the stiff robes of the marketplace. Here, in the bathhouse, everyone's on equal footing. Or well, in equal undress. At first, it may feel a little strange, being surrounded by so many people, all in their birthday suits. But there's something oddly freeing about it. You realize that the focus here isn't on appearance, on status, or on wealth. It's on relaxation, purification, and community. For the Romans, clothing was a sign of status. But here in the baths, it was almost as if those markers were stripped away, leaving you with nothing but your humanity and the shared experience of the water. So, what exactly did Romans wear to the bathhouse, if anything? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The standard bathhouse attire for both men and women was a cloth called a sudarium or a strophium for women, which was wrapped around their bodies. Men often didn't bother with any kind of garment at all, though they might have draped a simple cloth over their waist if they wanted to maintain some modesty, or if they were engaging in business or socializing. It was a casual, functional kind of dress, designed for comfort and ease in the water. But let's be honest, this kind of clothing wasn't exactly designed for modesty. It was more about practicality. The Romans were incredibly pragmatic when it came to their clothing, especially for a situation like this. It was all about movement, comfort, and making sure that nothing was in the way while you were soaking, massaging, or being scraped with a strigil. In fact, the bathhouses were places where the Romans embraced a certain kind of unguarded, unpretentious physicality. It was a space where people could come together without the usual trappings of social hierarchy. It wasn't about showing off or impressing anyone. It was just about being yourself, in your most stripped-back form. But even though the Romans favored simplicity in their bathhouse attire, there was still a certain level of luxury to the whole experience. The fabrics used for the bathhouse garments were often light and breathable, designed to wick away the moisture from the body while still allowing freedom of movement. Think of it as ancient-day activewear, something functional but with just enough style to remind you that you're in a society that appreciates comfort and luxury at the same time. The colors of these garments weren't particularly bright. Most were plain, neutral shades of white or off-white, perfect for showing off that relaxed, "I've got it all under control" vibe. For those who could afford it, there were also attendants who would provide special oils and lotions for bathers to use during their visit. These oils were used to cleanse the skin, but also to protect it from the heat of the water and to leave behind a soft, fragrant scent. You can imagine that some bathers, upon leaving the bathhouse, would carry with them a lingering trace of lavender, myrrh, or rose. These scents were more than just for fragrance. They were another layer of indulgence, a reminder that you were not just taking a bath, but participating in a carefully constructed luxury. Now, the question of modesty. How did it feel to be in a place where clothing was so secondary? For most Romans, it was completely natural. The absence of clothing in the baths allowed for a kind of openness, a sense that all were equal before the waters. A slave might share the same bath as his master, and the emperor might find himself reclining in the same pool as a humble merchant. It was almost as if, by stripping away their clothing, they were also shedding their social roles, even if just for a brief time. But we have to consider how this might feel to you, someone used to privacy and personal space. It might take a bit of getting used to, feeling the physical closeness of strangers, hearing the sounds of conversations in various stages of relaxation. But as you settle deeper into the warm water, you might begin to appreciate the lack of pretense. There's something incredibly human about it. The simple act of allowing yourself to exist without the layers of status, wealth, or social expectations that we so often wear in our daily lives. Of course, not everyone felt entirely comfortable with the lack of attire. Some bathhouses had private rooms or segregated sections, particularly for women, who might have felt more at ease in a space with fewer people around. But even then, the act of disrobing was still a key part of the experience. It was a cleansing ritual, yes, but it was also symbolic of shedding the burdens of everyday life. When you're in the bath, you're not just washing off sweat and dirt. You're also rinsing away the masks you wear in the world outside. Even the servants and attendants who worked in the bathhouse didn't wear elaborate uniforms. They were typically dressed in simple tunics, often in muted colors, so as not to draw attention. This created an atmosphere where everyone, regardless of their social status, could move through the space without feeling out of place. It wasn't about what you wore, it was about the shared experience, the communal enjoyment of something that was universally accessible. And even though this might all seem foreign to you, it's worth considering that for the Romans, this was normal. This was the luxury of the everyday, the ritual of relaxation. No matter where you came from, no matter what your station in life was, you could walk into this space, strip away the trappings of your world, and for just a few hours, become part of something bigger. All that mattered here was the warmth of the water, the softness of the oils, and the ease that came with sharing space with others who were doing the exact same thing. Now, as you sit back and relax in the warm water, you begin to understand that the luxury of the Roman baths wasn't about opulence or extravagance in the usual sense. It was about simplicity, about relaxation, and about the pleasure of being immersed in the moment. The attire may have been minimal, but the experience was everything but. You take a moment to appreciate the peaceful hum around you. The water is warm, your body feels loose, and the steam rises gently from the surface of the caldarium. But as much as this is about relaxation, it's also about something else: connection. Despite the physical intimacy of the setting, the bathhouse is a place where social life thrives. In fact, Roman baths were not just a place to cleanse your body, but a central hub for social interaction, networking, and even political maneuvering. You might expect to see a few quiet individuals lost in their own thoughts, perhaps contemplating the heat of the water, or simply enjoying the luxury of the space. But instead, you find yourself surrounded by animated conversations, laughter, and the light clinking of cups. People chatting away as if they were sitting at a lively dinner party. Some bothers are deep in serious discussion, their brows furrowed as they discuss politics or current events. Others are exchanging stories, gossiping about the latest scandal, or talking about the newest fashions. Here in the bathhouse, the usual rules of propriety are relaxed. People speak freely, mingle, and find themselves in an environment that encourages connection and open communication. Roman baths were designed not just as places for personal hygiene, but as places for leisure and socialization. They were a microcosm of Roman society, where the lines between public and private life blurred. The bathhouse was where one could meet with old friends, make new acquaintances, or conduct business, all while submerged in warm water or lounging on a marble bench. As you continue your soak, you realize that you've inadvertently become part of this ongoing social ritual. You're not just a visitor to the bath, you're part of the ongoing conversation of Rome. The conversations vary from trivial to serious, and you hear snippets of all kinds of topics floating around you. There's the well-dressed merchant talking about his latest deals in the markets, and across from him, a group of senators are discussing the latest shifts in power within the empire. It seems everyone has a purpose here, whether it's to make deals, exchange gossip, or just enjoy a bit of friendly banter. And it's not just the men who dominate the social scene here. Women also took part in the communal experience, chatting, and relaxing together. Though segregated in some areas for modesty, there were parts of the baths where men and women could mingle freely, and the bathhouse itself became an equalizer for the sexes, offering both genders a shared space for socializing and leisure. As you move through the bathhouse, you see a group of bathers sitting around a table, playing a game of tesserae, a popular Roman board game that involved dice and strategy. Others are reclining on the marble benches, sipping on water or wine, enjoying the leisurely pace of the afternoon. The bathhouse wasn't just a place to relax. It was a place to be seen, to make connections, and sometimes even to close business deals. Senators and emperors alike could often be found in the baths, engaging in casual, informal negotiations or receiving petitions while surrounded by fellow bathers. Historians still debate the extent to which the bathhouses served as political gathering spots. Were they truly places where political alliances were made? Where decisions were made over the course of a friendly soak? Perhaps it was more about the opportunity to talk shop in a relaxed, informal environment. It's hard to say for certain, but it's certainly true that bathhouses were integral to the Roman experience of public life. In a city as large and bustling as Rome, where business and politics often happened in crowded forums or stuffy offices, the bathhouse offered a refreshing change of pace. It was a space where decisions could be made without the usual pomp and circumstance, where the heat of the water seemed to loosen tongues and encourage frank conversation. The socializing here wasn't just casual, it was part of the very fabric of Roman society. Even with all the social activity, there was a calming rhythm to the scene. The mingling, the relaxed atmosphere, the gentle sound of water splashing all contribute to a sense of ease. As you soak, you realize that the Romans had perfected the art of social relaxation. They knew how to balance work, leisure, and relationships in ways that allowed for productivity without sacrificing comfort. Perhaps what stands out the most, though, is the sense of egalitarianism that the bathhouse embodied. Despite all the wealth and status in Rome, once you entered these walls, everyone was on equal footing. Whether you were a lowly tradesman or the emperor himself, once you were in the bath, you could sit next to anyone, talk to anyone, and engage in conversation with no barriers of status. This wasn't a space where one had to mind their place in society. It was a shared experience, where people could relax and be themselves. But the social life didn't end in the bath. Many bathhouses had attached spaces for dining, lounging, and even shopping. While you were soaking, you could get a snack or drink, perhaps a little wine to accompany your conversations, or even indulge in a quick snack of fruit or nuts. There were also massage rooms where bathers could relax further under the skilled hands of attendants, and shops where you could pick up oils, perfumes, and other luxury goods. It was truly a one-stop shop for relaxation and indulgence. The importance of the bathhouse as a social space cannot be overstated. In a society that valued public life and connection, the bath was the ideal location to nurture those relationships. Whether it was an intimate conversation with a close friend or a more business-oriented discussion with a fellow senator, the bathhouse offered a relaxed, neutral setting where all interactions could unfold. And, in a way, it was a place where all of our life's contradictions could coexist. Relaxation and work, leisure and politics, the personal and the public. As you take another deep breath, feeling the steam rise around you and the low murmur of conversation in your ears. You realize that the Roman bathhouse wasn't just a place to soak away the day's grime. It was a vibrant social space where life, in all its messy, beautiful forms, could unfold. And for the Romans, that was part of the charm. The water is warm, the steam curls around you, and the soothing atmosphere of the caldarium is all-encompassing. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the noise of the world fade as the scent of herbs and oils mingles in the air. There's something so calming about this space, but it's not just the heat that makes it so inviting. It's the conversations that happen here too. The Romans, you realize, didn't just come to the bathhouse to wash off the grime of the day or to socialize casually. They came here to exchange ideas, to discuss philosophy, art, and politics. You can't help but wonder if the warm water wasn't just a means of relaxation but also a way to stimulate the mind, to get ideas flowing. As you look around, you spot a small group gathered by the side of the pool, their conversation intense, but their voices calm, like they're unraveling a great mystery. These aren't the kind of conversations you'd expect in a noisy marketplace or crowded forum. No, this is a more thoughtful kind of dialogue. The Romans were known for their intellectual curiosity, and the bathhouse was a place where they could explore complex ideas with others, free from the distractions of the outside world. The first thing you notice is the absence of the usual stiffness that accompanies formal debates. There are no podiums, no orators shouting from a stage, no grand gestures. Instead, the exchange of ideas takes place naturally, almost casually. The bathhouse offers an environment where even the deepest discussions about ethics, morality, and the nature of the universe can unfold without the pressure of a formal setting. It's an ideal space for intellectual exchange, where minds can meet and ideas can develop in a relaxed, informal environment. You might be tempted to think of this as the ancient equivalent of a coffee house or a modern-day book club, places where people come together, not for business or entertainment, but to explore the world through conversation. At the edge of one pool, you notice a man with a scroll, speaking passionately about the philosophies of Plato, his voice occasionally rising above the murmurs of others. He's joined by several others who are equally engaged, each of them occasionally sipping from a small cup of water or wine. They speak with excitement, their eyes alight with the energy of fresh ideas. One of the men mentions the concept of virtus, the Roman ideal of excellence, and the others nod thoughtfully, adding their own thoughts to the mix. You begin to realize that this is no ordinary bathhouse conversation. These are thinkers discussing everything from the meaning of justice to the role of the gods in human affairs, as if they were in the midst of a public symposium. The Romans didn't just come here to relax, they came here to continue their intellectual pursuits. The baths were not just places of physical cleansing, but mental and philosophical enrichment as well. You can imagine the conversations flowing from one topic to another, as different philosophers, writers, and intellectuals debated their ideas, trying to solve the great mysteries of the world. This is a space where the greatest minds of Rome would have come to share their thoughts, and where a casual dip in the caldarium could lead to a discovery or the birth of a new idea. You wonder if the heat of the water played a role in this intellectual exchange. There's something about it. Maybe it's the warmth that makes you feel both relaxed and alert, or the steady, rhythmic sounds of water and conversation that create the perfect atmosphere for contemplation. Ancient Romans believed that the act of bathing wasn't just about cleansing the body, but also the mind. The heat would relax your muscles, and the water would refresh you, both physically and mentally. Perhaps it helped them open up, to let the guard down, and truly engage with each other. And yet, it wasn't always easy. Not everyone in the bathhouse would have been interested in such lofty topics. You can see the occasional glance over to one side, where a group of merchants is laughing over their business dealings, or where a young Roman is eagerly chatting about the latest chariot race. The intellectuals don't mind, though. In fact, there's a kind of acceptance in the air, a sense that here everyone's voice is welcome. If you want to talk philosophy, you can. If you want to gossip about the latest fashion or discuss the best olive oil, that's fine too. The bathhouse encourages all kinds of dialogue, no matter how serious or trivial. Historians still wonder how formal these intellectual discussions were in the baths. Did they happen spontaneously, or were some of these exchanges prearranged, like modern academic gatherings? Were the discussions primarily between fellow philosophers, or did the average Roman bathgoer join in and contribute to the dialogue as well? The line between high-minded intellectualism and casual everyday conversation was often a thin one in Roman society. The bathhouse blurred those lines even further, making it a unique space where intellectual and everyday life coexisted seamlessly. As you float in the water, letting your mind wander, you start to understand the attraction of this intellectual environment. The conversations around you are not just about facts or ideas. They're about connection. These bathers aren't just exchanging philosophies or debating the nature of the soul. They're connecting with each other, building relationships, and creating a space where ideas can be tested, refined, and perhaps even transformed. You begin to understand that for the Romans, bathing wasn't just about hygiene or relaxation. It was about the pursuit of a life well lived, of seeking knowledge, forging connections, and becoming a part of something larger than yourself. The bathhouse was more than just a place to wash away the day. It was a space where the mind could be just as refreshed as the body, where ideas could flow as freely as the warm water. You decide to linger a little longer, letting the calm atmosphere of the bathhouse surround you. It's not just the heat of the water, but the exchange of ideas, the quiet intellectual hum in the background, that makes this experience so immersive. As you let the conversation wash over you, you feel a sense of connection, not just with the bathers around you, but with the great thinkers of the past who once walked these halls, debating and discussing under the same soothing warmth. You sink a little deeper into the soothing waters, feeling your body relax further. The heat is just right, and the steam gently wraps around you, making everything feel soft and quiet. This isn't just a moment of relaxation. It's a sacred ritual that stretches back centuries. For the Romans, the act of bathing wasn't simply about getting clean. It was a multi-step process designed to refresh both body and mind. From the moment you enter the bathhouse to the moment you step out, there's a carefully choreographed sequence of events that aims to purify you, both inside and out. You can feel it now, the essence of the ritual. As you float in the caldarium, the warm water envelops you and you start to think about the journey you've already made. The Romans believed that cleanliness wasn't just about washing away dirt. No, it was a holistic process, one that involved cleansing your body, mind, and spirit. First, there was the exercise, the palestra. Before entering the bath itself, many bathers would engage in physical activity, working up a sweat in preparation for the water. Whether it was a quick jog, a round of ball games, or a wrestling match, the idea was to get the blood flowing, to prepare the body for the cleansing process ahead. It was all part of the ritual of renewal. No one simply walked into the bathhouse and jumped straight into the water. No. This was about engaging in a series of actions that would prepare you physically and mentally for the experience. The palestra may have been exhausting, but it was also invigorating. The Romans knew that taking care of the body was about balance. Too much rest would leave you sluggish, but too much exertion would wear you down. The bathhouse was designed to be a place where you could find that perfect balance between exertion and relaxation. After a few minutes of exercise, you were ready for the next stage, the tepidarium. The tepidarium was the room that most closely resembled what we might think of as a warm-up pool. It wasn't too hot or too cold, just a gentle warmth that helped ease your body into the bathhouse experience. The water here was inviting, but not overpowering, preparing you for the deeper heat of the caldarium. You'd spend a little time in the tepidarium, allowing your body to adjust to the warmth and relax before moving on to the next step of the ritual. From there, you'd move on to the caldarium, the main event. The hot pool was where most bathers would spend the bulk of their time, allowing the heat to penetrate their muscles and ease their tensions. As you float in the water now, you understand why this stage of the process was so important. The warmth of the water has a calming, soothing effect, relaxing your muscles and helping you let go of whatever burdens you've brought with you. It's easy to get lost in the sensation of it, to let the heat wrap around you and simply be. But the bathing process doesn't stop here. The Romans had a tool, the strigil, that would be used to scrape away the sweat, oil, and dirt that had accumulated on the skin. After spending time in the caldarium, bathers would move to the unguentarium, where attendants would anoint them with oils to further cleanse the skin and soften it. The oils, often scented with lavender, rose, or myrrh, were massaged into the skin, creating a luxurious experience that not only soothed but also rejuvenated. You can feel the weight of the oil on your skin now, the way it softens every pore, drawing out the impurities and leaving you feeling lighter, fresher. This wasn't just a beauty treatment, it was a purification ritual. To the Romans, the oils weren't just about vanity, they were part of the cleansing process that renewed the body and spirit. The scents were thought to have healing properties, and the massage techniques were designed to release tension and promote relaxation. Historians still wonder how much the act of oiling and scraping affected the Romans' sense of physical well-being. Did the scrubbing and scraping truly make their skin feel more rejuvenated? Or was the ritual mostly psychological? There's something undeniably luxurious about the process, about taking the time to cleanse yourself so thoroughly, to go through each of the stages and allow your body to be fully cared for. And it's not just about the external process. It's about what it does for the mind, too. By the time you've gone through the strigil treatment and the oils, you can't help but feel like a new person. The stress, the tension, the world outside, everything seems so far away, leaving only this moment of peace and serenity. Once your skin is cleansed, there's one final step: the frigidarium, the cold bath. It may sound jarring, especially after the warmth of the caldarium, but the cold water is essential. The Romans believed that alternating between hot and cold baths helped to stimulate circulation, close the pores, and invigorate the body. It was the final step in a process that took your body through the extremes of temperature and allowed it to return to a balanced state. You dip a toe into the frigidarium now and feel the shock of cold water against your skin. It's refreshing, yes, but it's also energizing. After the calm of the hot bath, the cold waters are like a burst of energy, awakening your senses and leaving you feeling completely rejuvenated. There's no rush here, no sense of urgency, just a slow, steady rhythm as you move between the heat of the caldarium and the chill of the frigidarium. It's the perfect way to finish the bathing ritual, ensuring that your body is not only cleansed, but revitalized. As you step out of the water, your body feels lighter than when you first entered. You feel refreshed, almost like you've shed a layer of yourself. The entire experience has been about more than just cleaning your skin. It's about caring for your body, mind, and spirit in a way that the modern world sometimes forgets. In ancient Rome, bathing was a ritual of rejuvenation, one that involved all the senses and was carefully designed to leave you feeling renewed in every way. As you dry off, you feel a sense of calm and completion. The ritual is over, but its effects linger. You've entered the bathhouse as one person and left as another. Cleaner, yes, but also more balanced, more at ease. The Romans knew that true relaxation wasn't just about physical cleanliness, it was about a holistic renewal, a process that rejuvenated you from the inside out. The warm water laps gently against your body as you sit in the pool, the steam rising in wisps that make the entire bathhouse feel as if it exists in a dream. You take a deep breath, feeling the calm of the space surrounding you, and you begin to wonder, how on earth did the Romans manage to build such grand structures with their vast halls, towering ceilings, and perfectly engineered systems? These bathhouses weren't just places to bathe. They were monumental feats of engineering, intricately designed to accommodate thousands of people, all seeking the same comfort and luxury. The architecture of Roman baths is as much a part of their charm as the water itself. As you look around, you start to notice the sweeping arches above you, the way the light filters through the high windows, casting a soft glow on the marble surfaces. The Romans were masters of architecture, and their bathhouses were a testament to that mastery. The scale of the structures is mind-boggling. But it's not just the size that's impressive, it's the sophistication of the design. You can't help but admire the precision with which everything is laid out. The baths weren't just a collection of pools haphazardly thrown together. No, every bathhouse was carefully designed to flow seamlessly, guiding bathers from one experience to the next. The Romans understood that a bath wasn't just about water. It was a ritual, an experience that involved movement, sensory pleasure, and even a bit of philosophy. They designed their bathhouses to encourage this process, using space in such a way that it wasn't just functional, it was a journey. One of the most striking features of the Roman bathhouse is the hypocaust, the underfloor heating system that allowed the Romans to keep the water at just the right temperature. As you sit in the warmth of the caldarium, you can almost imagine the system working beneath your feet. the hot air circulating through channels beneath the stone floors. The Romans were able to create a heating system that was both efficient and effective, ensuring that the bathhouses remained comfortable no matter the season. It's a testament to their ingenuity, a system that would inspire generations of engineers long after the fall of the empire. Historians still debate the full extent of the Romans' architectural knowledge. How did they achieve such precision in their designs? How were they able to create such massive structures without the advanced tools and technology we have today? Some suggest that they had an understanding of geometry and engineering that was far ahead of its time, using complex calculations to ensure that their buildings were both aesthetically pleasing and structurally sound. Others believe that the Romans relied on trial and error, learning as they went, perfecting their methods with each new bathhouse they built. Either way, the result is the same. The Roman baths are still awe-inspiring centuries later. The columns that line the halls are another marvel. These aren't just decorative. They're functional, supporting the massive weight of the vaulted ceilings above. The Romans perfected the art of the arch, creating a structure that could support enormous spans of space without the need for a lot of internal supports. The arches you see above you aren't just beautiful. They're a key part of what makes the bathhouses so stable and durable. And then there's the use of light. As you walk through the halls of the bathhouse, you notice how the light shifts throughout the day. High windows let in natural light, bathing the interior in a soft glow. The Romans understood that light was just as important as the materials they used. The interplay of shadows and light added to the atmosphere of the space, giving it an otherworldly, almost sacred quality. There's a quiet elegance to the design of these bathhouses, an understanding that bathing is not just about the practicalities of cleaning the body, but about creating a space where the senses are engaged and the soul can unwind. The design was as much about aesthetic pleasure as it was about function. The smooth, polished marble surfaces, the cool, smooth stone of the floors, the calming sounds of running water. They were all part of an environment created to help you relax, to wash away not just dirt, but the stresses of the day. But as impressive as the architecture is, what truly makes these bathhouses special is the way they were designed to accommodate the flow of people. There was a certain rhythm to the way the baths were structured. You could move from room to room, transitioning from the heat of the caldarium to the cool refreshment of the frigidarium. The layout was meant to guide you through the experience, taking you on a journey from exertion to relaxation, from warmth to coolness, and back again. It was a carefully crafted path to rejuvenation, a journey that was as much about the space as it was about the rituals within it. One of the lesser-known features of the Roman bathhouses is the inclusion of gardens, which were often attached to the more luxurious bath complexes. The baths of Caracalla, for example, included vast gardens where bathers could stroll, enjoying the fresh air and beautiful landscaping. These gardens were more than just aesthetic additions. They were part of the overall experience of the bath, providing a space for relaxation and contemplation. The beauty of the gardens would have added to the serene atmosphere, allowing bathers to enjoy nature as part of their bathing ritual. As you sit in the warm water, you begin to understand just how sophisticated these spaces were. They weren't just large rooms with pools. They were carefully designed environments meant to engage all the senses, to encourage relaxation, and to provide a sense of well-being. It's no wonder that the Roman bathhouses were such an integral part of daily life. They were more than just places to clean up. They were sanctuaries, places where the body could be refreshed and the mind could be freed from the chaos of the world. You take a deep breath and look around once more, marveling at the intricacy of the design. The soft glow of the light, the smooth marble surfaces, the echo of the water. It all comes together to create a perfect harmony. A space where you can feel both at peace and at home. As you shift from the warmth of the caldarium, the immediate sensation of cool air hits you like a breath of fresh air. The steam that enveloped you earlier now dissipates, leaving behind a calm coolness. You step into the frigidarium, and the chill of the water contrasts sharply with the heat you've just experienced. It's a shock to your system, yes, but in the best possible way. The Romans understood the importance of alternating between hot and cold, and this ritual of plunging into cold water after the heat of the caldarium was a cornerstone of their bathing experience. The frigidarium is a large, open pool. Its waters cool and inviting. The temperature difference between this and the caldarium is stark. The cold water feels like a crisp breath of air, almost like a rejuvenating jolt to your senses, bringing everything into sharp focus. As you immerse yourself into the chilly depths, you can feel the blood rush to your skin, the coolness closing your pores, and the tension from the heat melting away. But there's more to the frigidarium than just a simple cold dip. To the Romans, this transition between hot and cold wasn't just a physical experience. It was a mental and emotional one too. The cold water was the final stage of the bathing ritual, meant to invigorate and refresh the body after its thorough cleansing. The Romans believed that switching between hot and cold water helped to stimulate circulation, invigorating the body, and promoting overall health. The act of moving from the warmth of the caldarium to the brisk coolness of the frigidarium wasn't just about temperature, it was about restoring balance to the body. The extremes of heat and cold were seen as a way to invigorate the body and bring the bather into a state of harmony. It's not just the physical benefits that draw you in, though. It's the sense of completeness that the frigidarium offers. After spending time in the warm, soothing waters of the caldarium and feeling your body relax, the cold plunge is like a reset. The cold water brings you back, revives you, and leaves you feeling alert and rejuvenated. It's almost as if you're washing away the heat and the fatigue, stepping out of one world and into another. While you linger in the water, the sounds of the bathhouse feel distant. The frigidarium is quieter, with fewer bathers here, allowing you to find your own pace and your own rhythm. You might notice a few others near the edges, their eyes closed as they enjoy the shock of the cold, the quiet hum of their breath, the only sound around you. The coolness wraps itself around you, leaving you feeling weightless and alive. The frigidarium wasn't just a place for cooling off, it had a special significance in Roman culture. It marked the final step in the bathing process, the moment when your body was brought back to its natural state. But just like the other parts of the bathhouse, it also served as a social space. Bathers would often chat in the frigidarium while cooling off, sharing gossip, discussing news, or simply unwinding after the heat of the caldarium. The coldness of the water might have had a calming effect too, helping people feel both physically and mentally reset. As you sit in the water, you notice the way the light dances off the stone walls, the cool surface of the water reflecting the pale glow of the high windows. The frigidarium feels serene, almost like a sanctuary where you can pause and let everything go. It's the last stage of the ritual, but it's also the one that brings it all together. The other pools, the caldarium, the tepidarium, may have been about heat, about cleansing, about relaxation, but the frigidarium is about renewal. It's about coming back to yourself, feeling revitalized and whole. The Roman bathhouses weren't just about cleansing. They were about rejuvenation, body and soul. They believed that the cycle of hot and cold was key to maintaining a healthy body, stimulating the skin and circulation, and helping to eliminate toxins from the body. While the hot water opened the pores and cleansed the body, the cold plunge closed them, sealing in the rejuvenating benefits of the bath. But more than that, it was a ritual that represented the balance between extremes, between heat and cold, exertion and rest, activity and stillness. It's a balance that seems almost metaphysical, a way to find harmony in a world full of contradictions. Historians often wonder how bathers managed to endure the dramatic temperature changes between the pools. How did they cope with the cold after spending so much time in the intense heat? Was the cold plunge always invigorating, or was it sometimes jarring, even uncomfortable? Some speculate that it might have been a test of endurance, a kind of physical challenge that made the bath even more of a ritual, one that encouraged strength and resilience. Perhaps it was also about the sense of accomplishment, the moment you left the frigidarium feeling refreshed, as though you had completed something important. In ancient Rome, where physical well-being and self-care were highly valued, the cold water might have been a way of demonstrating that you were strong, both physically and mentally. But whatever the exact reasoning behind it, the cold plunge of the frigidarium is a vital and unforgettable part of the experience. It's a refreshing shock to the system, a way to reset and reawaken the body after the relaxation and cleansing of the previous stages. It's a moment of invigorating clarity, one that helps you feel truly revitalized and balanced. And as you step out of the frigidarium and head toward the drying rooms, you can feel the entire bathing experience coming to a close. You are no longer the person who entered this space. You are transformed, renewed, ready to face whatever comes next. As you step out of the frigidarium, the cool air hits your skin, and for a moment you feel awake and alert, like you've just been infused with energy. Your body hums, and your mind is clearer. But beyond relaxation and socializing, the Romans understood that their bathing rituals held healing and rejuvenating powers. Water, heat, and air were all part of it. The bath wasn't just for unwinding, it was a form of therapy, maintaining both physical and mental health. For the Romans, the bathhouse was as much about healing as it was about leisure. You can feel the effects on your body. Your muscles are less tense, and your skin feels softer and more vibrant after the oils and scrubbing. The Romans understood the therapeutic benefits of bathing. The heat of the caldarium opened your pores, promoting sweat and toxin flow, while the cold plunge of the frigidarium was believed to close your pores, sealing in rejuvenation and reinvigorating your body. The bathing process went deeper. It was part of Roman medical practices, providing both short-term relief and long-term health benefits. Roman physicians knew that hot and cold baths helped with everything from sore muscles to poor circulation and more complex ailments. Many Romans visited the baths regularly, even daily, believing that the combination of exercise, heat, and water was key to preventing illness and maintaining health. The bathhouse was not just a place for cleaning, but for holistic care, physical well-being, relaxation, and intellectual exchange. Roman doctors, like Galen, recommended regular baths as part of their treatments. Galen believed the heat and cold of the bath helped balance the body's humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. A proper balance of these humors was crucial for health, and bathing, along with diet and exercise, restored that balance. The combination of hot water to open the pores, exercise to stimulate the body, and cold water to invigorate the skin was thought to help maintain health. You begin to feel that sense of renewal now. Your body is light, your skin fresh, and your energy slowly returning. The Romans emphasized the importance of their bathing rituals. The process of moving from hot pools to cold baths, followed by massage and scrubbing, was like a complete reset for the body. It was designed to leave you feeling healthier, more vibrant, and balanced. Roman baths were an essential part of daily life, not just a luxury. For the wealthy, they were places of socializing, but for the average Roman, baths were as necessary as food and drink. Philosophers and physicians extolled the virtues of the bathhouse, emphasizing its role in preventing sickness, promoting longevity, and maintaining health. The bath was a holistic therapy, essential for health in a world without modern medical technologies. As you sit in the cooling room afterward, drying off and absorbing the benefits of your bath, you appreciate the wisdom of the Romans. They understood the connection between body and mind, how the health of one is tied to the other. Bathing wasn't just about cleansing, it was a ritual to maintain balance, energy, and health. Historians still debate the true effectiveness of Roman medical practices. Did their belief in the therapeutic power of baths help people live longer? Or was it more of a cultural practice that provided a sense of wellness? Regardless, the Romans created an integrated system of health and well-being, combining exercise, bathing, massage, and social interaction into a holistic approach to care. As you finish drying off and move toward the changing room, you feel a deep sense of peace. The bath has done more than clean you. It's revitalized you. The warmth, cold, massage, and oils have left you restored, balanced, and ready for whatever comes next. The Romans knew that the true value of the bath wasn't just in its ability to cleanse, it was in its power to refresh, rejuvenate, and heal, inside and out. As you step into the changing room, drying off and wrapping yourself in a simple linen garment, you begin to reflect on all the comfort and luxury you've experienced. The hot waters, the cooling plunge, the oils and scrubs, everything has been perfectly curated to make you feel relaxed, rejuvenated, and cared for. But as you linger in the bathhouse, you realize that much of this luxury was made possible by the tireless efforts of others. You've been pampered and soothed, but behind the scenes, the true work was being done by the slaves and attendants who ran the bathhouse. In the Roman world, it wasn't just the wealthy who frequented the baths. People from all walks of life, slaves, soldiers, merchants would come to the bathhouse to enjoy the experience. However, while the boarders relaxed, enjoyed the warmth, and socialized, there was a vast network of slaves and attendants who worked tirelessly to ensure that everything ran smoothly. You can't help but think of them now, moving behind the scenes, ensuring that the water was always the right temperature, that the oils were fresh and ready, and that the pools were kept clean and inviting. It's easy to forget that while you were enjoying the luxury of the bathhouse, there were people who spent their days ensuring that it remained a space of comfort. Slaves were often tasked with overseeing the maintenance of the bathhouse, ensuring that the water remained clean and at the right temperature, and helping with the delivery of food, drinks, and towels. In many cases, they were the ones who prepared the bathhouses for the day's business, setting up the necessary materials, oils and scrapers, and making sure everything was in place for a relaxing experience. You picture the attendants now busy, working behind the scenes to prepare everything just right. Some of them might have been stationed at the entrance, welcoming bathers and directing them to the appropriate rooms. Others would have been tending to the pools, adjusting the temperature and ensuring the water was fresh and clear. A few might have been offering massages or scrubbing bathers' skin with the strigil, working carefully to remove oil, dirt, and sweat. It's impossible to ignore the sheer amount of labor involved in running such a large, complex space. The Roman bathhouses were vast, sometimes accommodating thousands of bathers in a single day. Without the hard work of slaves and attendants, the baths would never have been able to function as efficiently and luxuriously as they did. The organization and coordination required to keep everything running smoothly speaks to the Romans' ingenuity, not just in their design, but in the careful maintenance of their facilities. Slaves also played a role in providing services that added to the overall experience of the bathhouse. For example, many attendants would serve wine, water, or food to the bathers as they relaxed. A well-timed glass of wine or a refreshing drink could enhance the bathing experience, making it even more luxurious. There were even slaves tasked with organizing entertainment or managing the gardens attached to the baths, ensuring that bathers had a fully immersive experience. Historians often wonder about the lives of these slaves and attendants, how they viewed their role in this grand institution, and what their day-to-day experiences were like. For many of them, work in the bathhouse would have been exhausting and monotonous, but it may have also provided a degree of security. Bathhouses were central to Roman life, and the role of the attendants was vital in maintaining the social and cultural importance of these spaces. It's clear that while bathers enjoyed the luxury of the baths, the workers behind the scenes were the ones who made it all possible. There were varying degrees of work within the bathhouse. Some slaves were tasked with less personal, behind-the-scenes labor, like heating the water or cleaning the floors. But others were responsible for more intimate duties, scrubbing bathers with oils and strigils, providing massages, or helping bathers with their personal grooming. These duties, while essential, were physically demanding, often requiring a great deal of attention to detail and care. The relationship between the bathers and their attendants may have been complex, with bathers depending on their attendants for the most personal aspects of their experience. It's easy to overlook the work of these attendants when you're wrapped in the warm waters of the bath, lost in relaxation. But as you think about it now, you realize that the luxurious experience you've enjoyed is the result of countless hours of hard work from those who maintain and care for the bathhouse. Without them, The Roman baths would not have been the grand, luxurious spaces. They were no one would have been able to experience the warmth, the oils, the scrubs, or the soothing waters that made the baths so famous. In addition to the slaves who worked within the bathhouse, there were also specialized attendants who offered services outside the regular bathing experience. For example, skilled masseuses provided therapeutic massages, relieving muscle tension and easing the stresses of the day. The bathhouse wasn't just about cleaning the body, it was about treating it, nurturing it, and making it feel revitalized. Some of the wealthier bathhouses, like the baths of Caracalla, even employed physicians who would attend to bathers in need of medical care. Thus, bathers could receive consultations on ailments such as joint pain, digestive issues, or skin conditions. The idea of integrating healthcare into the bathing experience was part of the Roman belief in the holistic nature of their rituals. After all, in Roman society, physical well-being was as important as social standing or wealth, and the baths were a key part of that. But the question remains, how much did the slaves and attendants enjoy or resent their work in the bathhouse? How did they feel about the luxury of the bathhouse compared to their own lives? Were they part of the social world of the baths, or were they kept separate, removed from the indulgences they provided? Historians still debate these questions, as the lives of slaves in ancient Rome were largely undocumented and often overlooked. It's clear, though, that their contributions were essential to the functioning of Roman bathhouses. As you finish drying off and get ready to leave the bathhouse, you can't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for those who made the experience possible. Their hard work allowed you to enjoy this luxury, this space of relaxation, rejuvenation, and socialization. And while the bathhouse was a place of indulgence and beauty, it also stands as a reminder of the quiet labor that made such grandeur possible. As you make your way toward the exit, wrapped in your simple linen garment, the sounds of the bathhouse continue to echo in your mind. The water, the heat, the cold, each stage of the experience has been a journey, not only for your body, but for your spirit too. And as you step out of the bathhouse and breathe in the cool air of the outside world, you begin to reflect on something deeper, something the Romans themselves would have known intimately. The Roman bathhouse wasn't just a place of physical cleansing and relaxation, it was also a sacred space linked to the divine and to religious practices. In ancient Rome, bathing was viewed not just as a personal hygiene ritual, but as a spiritual one too. The Romans believed that water, especially the kind used in the baths, had divine properties. It wasn't just a material thing. It was something imbued with sacred qualities, something that had the power to cleanse not only the body, but the soul. The bathhouse, with its hot and cold pools, its oils, and its steam, was an extension of a deeply spiritual tradition, one that recognized the power of water as both a symbol of purification and a connection to the gods. Many bathhouses were dedicated to specific gods or deities. The baths of Caracalla, for example, were built with religious symbolism in mind, featuring sculptures and artwork that celebrated Roman gods like Apollo, Venus, and Neptune. The belief was that bathing in these waters didn't just cleanse you physically, it could also bring you into favor with the gods. Just as in temples where prayers and rituals were offered up to the divine, so too were the baths seen as a kind of ritualistic offering, a means of aligning oneself with the divine order of things. As you move through the space, You can't help but feel the lingering presence of the gods. They might not be here physically, but their influence is everywhere in the design of the bathhouse, in the reverence bathers have for the ritual, and in the act of purification itself. For the Romans, water had a sacred quality, it was essential for life, but it also had the power to wash away impurities, both physical and spiritual. This connection to the divine is evident in Roman religious practices. Bathhouses were often built near temples or sanctuaries, reinforcing the belief that the act of bathing was a way to engage with the sacred. Some temples even had sacred baths where worshippers could bathe as part of religious ceremonies, seeking purification before offering sacrifices or prayers to the gods. These spaces were meant to bring the bather closer to the divine, and the process of bathing itself was an act of reverence, a quiet way of acknowledging the god's role in life's rhythms. The Romans were also keenly aware of the importance of rituals in everyday life. Just as they had ceremonies for birth, death, marriage, and festivals, so too did bathing become a daily ritual that bridged the gap between the mundane and the sacred. The physical act of stepping into the warm waters and allowing the heat to envelop you wasn't simply a luxury, it was part of a larger cosmic order. In the same way that a religious worshipper might approach a temple with reverence, so too did Romans enter the bathhouse with a sense of respect and devotion. Historians still debate how much the Romans consciously linked their bathing rituals with religious practices. Was the connection more symbolic, a cultural tradition carried on through generations? Or was it deeply rooted in a specific belief system that made the bathhouse a true place of worship? The sacred aspect of bathing could vary from region to region, but it's clear that water played a central role in Roman religious practices, whether in the form of purification rituals, healing waters, or sacred baths. It wasn't just about cleanliness, it was about restoring harmony with the divine. You can almost feel the sense of calm and connection that the Romans would have experienced as they bathed in these sacred spaces. The soft murmurs of conversation, the steam curling around you, and the scent of oils and perfumes all combine to create a kind of peaceful, meditative atmosphere. The bathhouse wasn't just a place to relax, it was a place where one could engage in a quiet kind of communion with the divine. Even if that communion was more subtle than the grand ceremonies that took place in temples. The very act of bathing, then, became a spiritual practice in itself. The Romans believed that the body and soul were interconnected, and that by caring for the body through bathing, exercise, and food, they were also caring for the soul. The water, the rituals, the offerings of oils and perfumes, all of it came together to create an experience that was not just physical, but deeply spiritual. When you bathe, you don't just cleanse the body. You prepare yourself to be your best self, in both body and spirit. There's a particular serenity that lingers in the air of the bathhouse, a sense that you've just been a part of something greater than yourself. The bathing ritual wasn't just about personal enjoyment, it was a way to connect with the divine, to renew not just the body but the spirit. As you leave the bathhouse, you carry that sense of tranquility with you, a quiet reminder of the sacredness that the Romans attributed to water, to purification, and to the rituals that were meant to restore balance to the world. Historians are still trying to piece together just how deeply the religious and spiritual aspects of bathing were embedded in Roman culture. Was it an act of personal devotion or a collective one? Were the baths temples in their own right? The complexity of these rituals suggests that bathing was more than just a physical act, it was a form of worship, a daily way for the Romans to remain in balance with themselves, their society, and their gods. And as you stand at the threshold of the bathhouse, looking out into the world beyond, you feel that connection too. The quiet reverence that comes with the ritual, the subtle power of the water, and the peaceful reminder that the body and soul must be cared for in harmony. As you make your way away from the ruins of the bathhouse, a gentle calm lingers in your chest. You're not just leaving behind a place, you're leaving behind an entire world. One built on centuries of rituals, routines, and reverence. There's something deeply satisfying about having been part of that world, even if only for a short time. The echoes of the Roman bathhouse stay with you, quietly shaping the rhythm of your breath, and the gentle, rhythmic hum of the experience lingers in your mind, much like the soft ripple of water in a quiet pool. In the bathhouse, you weren't just a visitor, you were part of something larger, a living, breathing tradition that spanned generations. And now, as you reflect on the journey you've taken, you realize that you've carried the essence of that journey with you, like the scent of oils still clinging to your skin after you've stepped out of the water. The Romans, with their perfected rituals, taught us something profound. They showed us that relaxation isn't just about resting the body, it's about nurturing a balanced spirit, clearing the mind, and reconnecting with others. In this quiet moment, as you move further from the ruins and feel the breeze on your face, the passage of time itself seems to slow. The sun is beginning to set, casting long golden shadows across the land. It's a perfect time to pause and breathe. The day has been long, but now you're filled with a quiet peace that can only come after such a profound journey. You've been transported, both physically and mentally, to an era where each bath was a sacred ritual, where every drop of water was believed to cleanse the soul as much as the body. There's a kind of grace in that thought, one that makes you grateful for the simple act of slowing down. As your thoughts wander back to the present, the hustle of modern life feels a little more distant. Maybe you feel a bit more aware of your body, a bit more present in the moment. After all, what the Romans understood so deeply was that we are all in need of balance between work and rest, between social connection and personal reflection. They didn't have the distractions we do today, but perhaps in their rituals, they created a space where the essentials were preserved, a time to pause, to reconnect, to renew. As you sit in the soft light of the fading day, you feel the quiet after effect of your journey. Perhaps it's the memory of warm water lapping at your skin, the cool breeze from the frigidarium still fresh in your mind, or maybe it's the sense of connection you've gained, not just to the Romans, but to the timeless ritual of self-care. The bathhouse wasn't just a place, it was a way of life, a ritual of renewal that transcended time, one that still influences how we care for ourselves today. The experience of the bath, with its balance of warmth and coolness, rest and activity, felt like a return to something deeply innate. You have, in your own way, partaken in a tradition that is both ancient and eternal. As the day finally fades into evening, there's a sense of stillness around you, and you find yourself easing into that calm place, a space where thoughts flow gently, where the body is relaxed, and where everything else simply melts away. The coolness of the air wraps around you, much like the refreshing plunge of the frigidarium that marked the end of your Roman bathhouse journey. You don't have to hurry anywhere. You don't need to think of anything else. This moment is yours. The quiet, the peace, the knowing that what you've just experienced will remain with you. Perhaps not always at the forefront of your mind, but as a quiet whisper, always present. A reminder of balance, of rest, of sacred rituals both ancient and contemporary that help us reconnect to what matters most. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. With every exhale, release any lingering tension from your body. The water, the heat, the cold, the calm, it's all still here. You're still in the bathhouse, still surrounded by its peaceful embrace. There's no rush. Just breathe. Feel the space around you and let the quiet sweep over you. This moment, the serenity, the peace, the soft silence is all part of the journey. A journey that you now carry with you as you close your eyes.